Hello, 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 hello. How many hellos did I say? Okay. Welcome to Operas Plus. Today we are here at the Bonwire Kente Museum and we are here to know more about Bonwire and the Kente, anything about Kente. Come on, let's go, let's go. Can we know your name and your portfolio here, please?
Yes, my name is Felix Kakari Kuffuor, and I work here as a curator, also as a receptionist. Okay.
Having two jobs together, it's not that
Mm.
easy. Okay.
Okay.
So we wanted to know the history of Bonwire, how Kente came about, little bits, itsy bitsy, something little about Bonwire.
Very well. Kente is a ceremonial cloth.
Okay.
No, it's not like a casual cloth that you use for your day-to-day activities. Mostly, you see Ghanaians in general, wear kente to what they believe are their most important occasions.
Okay. So if you get it right, they said it's a ceremonial cloth. It's 1 hour no. Ɛwɔ ɔka ho a na ahyɛ. Obi tumi hyɛ no 3 days, 4 days na ade do. You guys are one. It's actually a ceremonial cloth.
Well,
So please, okay.
I mean,
So can you?
originally, okay, original ceremonial cloth.
Okay.
But there are other fashionable ways that people also use pieces of kente. But I'm speaking of the traditional way of wearing a cloth. I mean, wrapping a
Okay.
cloth around your body.
Okay.
That's the ceremonial
The
way of wearing a
ceremonial.
cloth. But let's say you have a very small piece put onto a shirt, or you have a jacket. I believe that you can use as as a daily, cloth. But with the traditional way of wearing a cloth, that would be even uncomfortable.
Ah,
Walking around wearing kente.
but
So
funny
yes,
enough, I know a man who wears it like every day.
really.
Yeah, he wears it every day. Like,
I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's an important symbol,
yeah,
of our culture. So yes, you have people that are very attached,
yeah.
to the cloth itself.
But isn't that too much? Wearing it every day. Hey, can't anymore,
I
bro.
mean, it can be very heavy, but we have people that are actually accustomed to wearing them.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So, yeah, so a little about the history of the cloth. There are some historians, or there have been some historical researchers and some archaeological researchers that traces cloth weaving to the first Akan kingdom, like Bonoman, and some kingdoms that even predate this Bonoman itself. But Kente, as we have it now, in the version that we have it, started in Bunyere somewhere in the 17th century, the later 17th century, by two brothers.
I guess that time Otoes were born.
No, no, of
Okay.
course, some 400 years back
Oh,
ago. So yes, it's a very long time.
yeah.
Yes, I don't believe there are even cameras
Oh no.
at the time. Yes, so we don't even have any pictures or even any pictorial drawings of these two brothers. All that we have is the oral history about them.
Mm-hmm.
So the names of these two brothers were Opoku Kragu and Kwache Amiel, two brothers from the Asona clan from Bunjiri here. In their country we have about 8 clans. So yes, these two brothers were from the Asona clan from Bunjiri. So we will be telling this version or this history from their perspective.
Okay.
Okay. So legend has it that somewhere, like I mentioned, in the 17th century, these two brothers, they are popularly called here Kragu Niameyao, or Kragu and Ameyao, popularly known here as Kragu and Ameyao, on a hunting expedition in a forest here at a place here, we call the place Bunyere Crunchy. And like I said, they were on a hunting expedition. So they encountered something very unusual in the forest. I mean, the thing itself wasn't something unusual, but it was actually what that thing was doing. So let me paint a picture for you.
Okay.
They saw a spider, Kwakwana say, as we probably say it in tree. They saw this spider on one of the trees making a web. But like I said, there is nothing special about seeing a spider making a web
Making a
because
web.
we've been seeing, a lot of them.
Yeah.
The special thing about what this spider was weaving was actually the patterns that it was weaving in its work. They said they were very beautiful patterns, and the two brothers had never seen such patterns before. But this was not just it. They also saw an earthenware bowl under the tree the spider was on, Iowa,
I
also under the same tree. So, by looking at the ambience of this space, the space they found the spider and this earthenware
Iowa.
bowl in, it led them to believe that it was the ancestors that had prepared that space and put that spider in there for them to go and learn from. So that's what they took from what they saw from that space because they believed they had everything they needed to remain there and study from the spider. They have their earthenware bowl, they have logs of trees to make fire, they could find, it was also close to where they had their farm. So they could also find some food to also eat. So they had everything they needed to remain there and learn from the spider. So that's exactly what these two brothers did.
So
They
that
decided,
means
yeah,
at that at that area they had everything they needed.
yes, they had everything they needed.
Food,
Food,
everything.
yes, to remain there and
Okay.
learn. Because they thought that if they leave and come back to the house and decide to go back, they might probably not go and meet the spider there. So let's stay there, observe what it is doing, study something from what it is doing, and then see if we can also come up with something similar to what the spider was doing because they believed it was beautiful. So okay, why not learn something from what this spider was doing? Also from their belief that it was the ancestors that had put that the spider in there for them to learn. And you know how the reverence that we have for our ancestors.
Yeah.
Yes,
Cherish them a lot.
yes, a lot. Yes.
Shout out to the ancestors.
Okay.
Okay.
So from this close observation, the brothers developed the first weaving system. So this first weaving system they decided to name it Ayasetoma or Ayase Toma, the big name, but shortened to Ayasetoma. The reason why the system was named, as such, was that um, they were joining the threads or the material they were using at the time to their pelvic or the ground region or mayase to weave. And this material was raffia. I don't know if you know raffia fiber,
Yeah, Rafa.
like from the raffia palm.
Yeah.
So yes, it's like small strands of this tree, and this was the material they were using at the time for the weaving. So what they would do for the weaving was that they sit on the floor. They didn't put up any structure that they would sit in as we have it now. They didn't have any structure like that. So they would sit on the ground, open their legs, and then put their threads they were using at the time. Like I mentioned, the raffia.
Yeah, Rafa.
They are known in Chi as edwa. So edwa, they will put their edwa material in between their toes and then join the threads to their groin. Omayase. So since they were joining the threads, they decided to reference that, to put into or to name the cloth. So Ayase Tuma.
Tuma.
Yeah. So this was the first system developed by Kragu and Amiel.
Okay.
Subsequently, they realized that the pieces they were making from this first system were too small. The original idea was to try and make cloths out of this weaving system. So since they couldn't make bigger pieces, and with the ones they were getting from the Ayatuma, they would have to make thousands of pieces before they could get like a full big cloth, for people. So they decided to try and develop a new system, and in this new system, try and make it in bigger pieces. So Kragur and Amiel, in their ingenuity, decided to, or experimented on a new system. And the new system that they came up with was also known as Asase Tuma, or Asase Nyen Tuma, the full name, shortened to Asase Tuma. And in this Asase Tuma, what they did was they put wooden pieces into the ground, also in a triangle, just as they would have it if they were using their legs. You understand? So a triangle with wooden pieces, and then their threads around these wooden pieces for the weaving. But legend has it that they encountered some challenges with this one. So later they decided to transfer what they were doing on the ground onto a board. So the board one, which we have here, was the second phase of the Asase Tuma, and what is popularly known here as the last experiment, because it was directly from there that the double-headed looms were introduced. And it was on the double-headed looms that the first cloths were woven. So, like I mentioned, after moving on from the first one and trying to make bigger pieces, okay, they did make slightly bigger pieces, but it was still not to their expectation. So they later tried, with a new system, and then that was the final one, which has been kept, which we are still using in our weaving centers.
So why is it now called Kente, but not Asasatuma?
Okay. So the asasutuma is in reference to the system itself, like the
Okay.
thing they are sitting in to weave, but not the cloth itself. The name kente is for the cloth that is coming out
Out
of the
of the
system, you
system.
understand?
Okay.
And even with that one, it was not originally known as kente. When the name kente came about was actually after they had introduced the ensedia, the ones that we now have. They are
Okay.
called
Incident.
ensedia looms, the double header looms. It was after the looms were introduced that the name Kente even came about. So originally, all the clubs were known as Nyentuma, 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 Nyentuma. And it simply say woven clubs. So how the name Kente also came about was that um, there was a student of Kragu and Amiyao, and the name of this student was Nana Otakrabai, or Otakrabai from the start. So he introduced double-header looms into uh, or this that system, into kente weaving or nyantuma at the time. And what he did after they started weaving the cloths out of the system was that, they decided to give it a name, like I said. So before kente weaving or cloth weaving, there was also another form of weaving that was already in existence before kente or cloth weaving later came along. And this was basket making or basket weaving, kente, as we call it in Chi. So before kente, they were already making baskets here in the Ashanti Kingdom. So after weaving the first cloths out of the ensebia or the double header looms, they decided that since basket weaving predates cloth weaving, and the weaving processes are very similar, and even the patterns are also very similar. Then why not call the cloths that we are making here basket cloths? Kenten, Yen, and Tuma, or Kenten Tuma in short. So basket cloths. Kenten Tuma was what they started calling these cloths. So from the start, all of the clothes they were making here or weaving here in Bunre was on commission for the king and the other royal families. Understand? So common folks were not allowed to put on kente cloth. So if you are not of a higher status or not, if you are not a royal in general, let's just put it like that, you were not allowed to put on kente cloth. And this was the case for more than 100 years. So after some time, the king at the time decided to finally allow other people to put on kente cloths, as generous as he was. Because from the start, they said it was a royal cloth, Adishia and Tuma. So no one was allowed to wear kente. So if you're not Odishia, if you're not a royal, you were not allowed to put on kente cloth. So after they started allowing other people to put on kente cloths, they started, mass producing, like weaving kente in high volumes, like in high commodities. And then some people would trade them off, for other things as well. So mostly these trading were mostly happening in the coastal areas where people from different countries, from Europe, from the Americas would come, to trade. So in those areas with the different languages and the different accents, the people there ended up corrupting the word kente to kente. So kente is actually a corrupted version of the original name kente. So the club was not originally called kente, but rather kente and tuma, or to mention the full name, kente, yen, and tuma. So it was a kente word which was later corrupted to kente, which is what the cloth is popularly known
So we are
as
all
well.
using the corrupted
Yes, the
version.
corrupted version. Yes.
That's the fake version.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what we call it.
So it's called Kenteng
Yes,
Ntuma.
Kente and Tuma.
Kenteng Ntuma. That's
Yes.
the original name,
Yes.
not Kente.
Yes.
Kente is the corrupted
Yes, the
version.
corrupted version.
And then here is the
So there's a gallery
okay.
where we have pictures of very popular personalities, popular and important personalities with their beautiful kente cloths on. So I believe we can see some familiar faces.
Yeah, I
Here.
see Lady Julia.
Yes.
Then we have Henry Gifty Auntie. Oh,
Yes.
come around, come see. There's Lady Julia, Henry Gifty Auntie. We have also Cramwa,
Yes.
an NFL player,
Yes.
football. Then you have the greatest of all time,
Yes.
my greatest
Baby
of all
Jet.
time, Baby Jet, Nsomajan, Didier Drogba, Atizigi. This man. You have a whole lot. Please, can you tell us more about this picture when it was taken?
Yes, the picture itself was taken in 1998
Okay.
when he paid a courtesy visit to Ghana.
Okay.
So around that time, I think it was the time of violence, as you can see
Yeah.
the picture frame here.
Okay.
So they had a very big program where he, yes, they work to welcome him. So the cloth he has on here is the Ajune. So this is Ajune Sejuneso. Ajune Sejuneso cloth. And the
Can you
one
bring it to English? Translate.
it means a complex design on top of a complex design. In Kente, those designs are called Ajine because we believe they are coming straight from our minds, creative minds, you understand? So Ajine. So if you say Ajine, it means you've made one complex design on top of another complex design. So yes, Ajine. So, and then his wife also had on the Ajine Assam cloth. Yes.
That's for
So-
that one. Finished.
Yes,
It's
they've
not
exhausted
possible.
every possible idea and design they had at the time. So
So
Ajine
that's the
Assam.
last idea. Left.
Yes, yes. At the time they were making the cloth.
Okay.
So Ajine Assam.
And what of the former presidents?
Okay. So mostly these are known as akunini entoma. It's like akunini. It's like someone that is of a higher status, like you understand akunini near nintili. I believe you've heard that before. So mostly these comes with some embroidered designs. So mostly they make a plain pattern and then they put some embroidered designs on them. And mostly these embroidered designs are some adinkra. Yes. But with this one, they also have some kente strips also put or seamed into
the edge.
that as well. Yes, at the edges as well. So yes, this was woven for his when he was being sworn into office for his first term, I believe.
And I want us to come to this. Yesterday being Ghana's independence,
Independence, yes.
and seeing Ghana's first cabinet
Yes.
minister in Kente, you have out of all the only person I could say I know is Emmanuel Amoah. But can you tell us more about this?
Yes. Yes. Okay. So just as you mentioned, this was the first ever Ghanaian cabinet, after independence. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's, own cabinet. So for their cabinet meeting, Kwame Nkrumah, Dr. Nkrumah was very big on Pan-Africanism and representing, our culture as Ghanaians. So I believe this image or this was to put out a message that the first ever Ghanaian cabinet, went to their first meeting in kente cloth or in traditional clothing. So all of these cloths, I believe, were hand picked and carried, messages in there. And there are a few that I can tell you about if you understand. So, for example, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's cloth is the Sika Futuro cloth. We also have the picture, his own, the one that's just him, also there. So Sika Futuro, and then this is Emada, the green version, another Emada cloth. This is Toku Akrantuma, another Toku Akrantuma. This is Yokomai. Yes, another Mada Blue. So Mada Green and Mada Blue. So all of these have their names, their meanings, and probably the messages they are conveying, from these historical personalities as well.